Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another polymer clay tutorial at my YouTube channel and my blog, keepsakecrafts.net. Today I'm going to show you how you can color polymer clay with oil paints. It gives it a great depth and just a gorgeous look that you can use to make beads or anything you like. So for this project I am using translucent clay, and today I'm using Pardo art clay in translucent. I've been a little disappointed in the Primo translucent as it kind of turns yellow when baking. And this one is said to be one of the clearest and most transparent once it's baked. So you'll need some of that. I have about 1/3 of a 2-ounce package here, and I've rolled it out on my pasta machine to a number 6 setting. And then you'll need some oil paints. And you just choose any colors you want. I have a couple of blues here, but you could also choose a color that blends nicely, like a red, and then you'd have blue and red and purples. Just make sure that you don't use complementary colors like blue and orange, because when they mix, you get brown, unless that's what you're looking for. You'll need a little bit of paint thinner for cleaning up. Some gloves is a good idea. Some gold leaf is nice for an accent, and just have a couple towels nearby. It's just good to have everything all ready and waiting to go, because it is kind of messy. I'm going to add just a little bit of paint. You don't need much at all. So I'm just going to add one little smear. And then of this darker color I'm going to add even less. I'm just kind of tapping the end of the tube in it just to get a little bit. You can see it's a very small amount. Fold your clay in half and try to press the fold out so you don't trap bubbles. And then this is Easy Leaf. I'll have a link to this on the blog post. It really is much easier to use than other types. And I'm going to cover about half of what's left here. This was some of the gold leaf. And then fold this again. Again, trying not to trap any bubbles. And then I'm going to take my blade and cut it in half, stack it, cut it in half, stack it again. And then you just want to start compressing it, and that blue paint's going to come out and get all over the place. That's why we need the gloves and a good work surface that will clean up easily. And you're just going to gently compress this into a log. Now, Pardo art clay is an interesting thing. Ginger Davis Allman works in polymer clay. She does these wonderful studies. And she has a great article over at her blog. I'll have a link to it on my blog post, talking about how to condition Pardo art clay. I read her description before I was working with this clay, and she described it like working with a cranky toddler, and I really didn't know what she meant until I started working with this. And what I found is that if you try to force it to do something, it almost pushes back. It's reluctant to move. But if you're gentle with it and just have gentle pats and easy movements, then it's quite pliant and will do whatever you want it to do, like a cranky toddler. So once I have a bit of a log, I'm just going to start twisting to marble my colors. When it breaks off, you can bring it together. And do this a few times. Twist, break it off, retwist. You're just trying to distribute those layers of paint and the layers of gold leaf throughout somewhat evenly, but of course you don't want to mix it up completely. You want to leave the streaks. That's what makes it so beautiful. And then once it looks somewhat like this, it's rather marbled, not mixed in completely, but somewhat even throughout. Now you can start making beads or whatever you like with it. And you can just do it the way you would make any beads. You can roll balls. You can use a bead roller. I don't know if I've shown you how to use a bead roller before. It comes with this little tool that is a measuring tool so that you use the exact right amount of clay for the beads. And each of these 3 shapes uses the same amount. So what I do is I roll it into a log, press it, put this on a flat surface with the wide part down, press that in, and then take a blade, trim that off level. And now what you have in there is the perfect amount to roll one of the beads with this tool. And then, so then you kind of roll it into a bit of a ball, and then you can put it on the roller, and one side has this slot, and the other side has a groove. So you fit the slot in the groove, and you just start rolling. And you end up with a perfectly shaped bead. Now if you like, you can take a piece of glass or an acrylic block and flatten it and get a different shaped bead. You could see it makes the oval and a round one and a bicone. So you can shape the beads however you like, rolling balls, rolling whatever shapes you want. You could even use a mold like this and then use a needle tool to pierce your holes. This is one part I found tricky to do with the gloves, so I took off the right glove so that I could twirl the needle tool. Pierce the holes and bake them, and then you have some beautiful beads. Here are some beads I made earlier. I used the same amount of clay, but you can tell a lot more paint. I used probably about 3 dabs of the cerulean blue and 2 dabs of the phthalo blue. They were maybe a little bit darker than I'd hoped they would be. But you'll get about this many beads, which is probably enough to make a necklace, definitely enough to make a bracelet, out of about 1/3 of a package of the art clay. And if you're interested in the supplies I used in this project, there's a link in the upper right to go to my accompanying blog post. And when you're done making all of your beads that you want, just use the paint thinner on a paper towel. You can clean off your gloves, clean off your tools. I wasn't sure about the long-term effects of paint thinner on my plastic tools, so after cleaning the oil paint off with the paint thinner, then I went and washed them thoroughly in soap and water just to get off any of the paint thinner. And here's another look at the project we made. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share, and leave me a comment below. You can also share your ideas for future projects in the comments, and I'll see if I can make you a video. If you're new here and haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do for 3 new video tutorials every week. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and on my blog. And if you're interested in supporting my videos, check out my Patreon page. Happy creating! Bye-bye.